My name is Vassil and I would like to thank you for participating. Today I will give you a brief introduction and presentation to the VRay RT render engine, which is in our VRay package for a while now. And let me just open 3dsMax. There it is. First of all, once you install the VRay package, you'll find the VRay RT render engine right here in the options of 3dsMax. The first thing you'll need to do is assign it as your default active shade render. Once you've done that, from now on 3dsMax will use it as the default render. And of course you'll have to switch to active shade mode. Once you've done that, you'll notice that a new tab called VRay RT has appeared here. And the options that are found here are exclusively VRT related. The first section is related to performance and quality. They can be tweaked to meet your current desires and needs. The second section here is regarding the rendering method, which is over here. It's related to the distributed rendering. VRay RT has the unique option to use multiple computers to assist in faster rendering. And the next section here is quite unique for the market because VRay RT is able to utilize any hardware that you possess in your computer. So by default it's set to CPU, but that doesn't mean it's bound to CPU. It can also use OpenCL devices and CUDA devices. So basically you can use any kind of hardware, and VRay RT will utilize it and take the maximum out of it. The next section is the VRay Scene export, which basically means that you can save and export your scene for further rendering on other machines or at later stage. Down below is the stereo options, which means that you can render your image in stereo. And here you can enable such cool features such as VRay proxy objects, displacement particle systems, and motion blur. So in reality, VRay RT is here to help artists work faster, create with greater ease, be more productive, and make decisions faster. So here I'll open the first scene of the series of scenes that I have prepared today to show you. It's right here. It's this Porsche. Okay. So here is my car. It's a nice model, and as soon as I hit render, you'll see that VRay RT needs only a couple of seconds to show me what's happening within my scene. So basically I have instant render. Think of the VRay RT as another viewport, realistically looking viewport, so you can manage your scene faster, see what's happening, make decisions faster. You can work closely with your coworkers, your clients, so you will tweak the parameters within your scene on instant basis. You will never need to wait again. So let's say that I have opened my scene here, I see what's happening, but at a certain point my point of view is not exactly what I'm looking after. So it's very easy to navigate. As you can see, my RT refreshes instantly, so I can find the best possible view that I'm looking after. And let's say your client is sitting next to you, and you both are looking for the best scene to render, so the decisions can be made instantly. Once you've done that, you can start tweaking your scene, your model. Let's say you want your rims. For example, you can tweak your geometry within the scene and you'll see the changes immediately. Let's say I'd like to remove the rims and add different rims at a later stage. So there you go, the rims are gone. You see immediately what's happening. You don't need to wait. Okay, let me return them back. Alright, so here are my rims. Another aspect of the tweaking of your scene and seeing immediate results is, let's say, materials. here for this car I have set up a pretty complex VRay blend material, which is an extremely powerful material system to work with. Here it is. So this is my car material. Here is the base layer, here is the flakes layer, and I have added a coat layer as well. So here the materials are. The base layer is the one that looks after the color, the base color of my material. The flakes layer adds those metallic flakes that they usually found on car materials. And the coat layer gives the glaze on top, so it looks shiny and polished. So let's say I would like to tweak my base material. Here I have added a map, but let me remove it for now so we can work with one single color. So I removed the map, and you can see the VRay RT refreshed my image immediately, so I know what's going on. So let's say I move this to some different color, let's say blue, and there you go. It got blue immediately, but you can see that the bluish tint is visible only at certain areas of my car model. That's because the rest of the car is covered with flakes layer. So I can also tweak my flakes as well to change. Okay, I removed the red part, so now it's white, and there you go. We have a metallic bluish white car. The parameters of the flakes layer are here, so I will give you a brief introduction to them as well, so you can make use of them. The flake color determines the color of the flakes, the actual color. The glossiness determines whether they're shiny or more blurry. The orientation is actually the angle of each flake within the material. So in reality, if I raise this, they will be more twisted within the material. There you go. I have some kind of varieties here. The density of the flakes is basically the how many flakes I get within single pattern of flakes. So 4 is the maximum, but if I go lower, let's say 1, I have much less flakes, so I can clearly see now the base layer more because less flakes are covering it. And the flake scale is the scale of the entire pattern. Now, let's say that I have a very large model and I'm going to render it with a in big resolution, like let's say 4K. And I'll have to tile this a lot. So basically lowering this value is making it more tileable. But sometimes those tiles might get visible. So what we have to do is just raise the map size. The map size determines the complexity of the pattern that will be used for the flakes. The next thing is the flake size, which is the size of the actual flakes, which is here. So the lower value, the smaller flakes. Let me show you. Let's raise the scale from 0.01 to 1. So now the flakes are visible, but I can lower the actual size of the flakes as well. So basically all of these settings just determine the flakes, how they behave and how they will be seen within my scene. And one more thing, usually when you work with models you unwrap them, so at later stage when you texture them, the textures will match perfectly on your model. But since sometimes we don't have much time to unwrap them, or they're too complex, sometimes we just leave them as they are. And we have thought about that and created this triplano from Object XYZ, which actually maps the flakes on your model based on your model. So this particular model has not been unwrapped, UV unwrapped, but still the flakes are evenly spread around it. That's because I'm using this option. If I have UVs on my model, I will just click explicit UVW channel. Okay, so this is for the scene. Let me open another scene. The Lamborghini Scene, which is another 3D model. There it is. Okay, so I selected certain parts, so you can see this is a CAD data model which is imported from a CAD software. So this model is pretty complex, it's very dense on faces and polygons, and it usually is very difficult to render, but we will see what VRay RT will do. So there you go, in just a few seconds we have a nice render of our car model, and from now on we can start tweaking the scene. We can adjust again the point of view as I did in the previous scene. Maybe that's not what I'm looking after. Maybe we can tweak the geometry if it's not okay. Maybe I have some spare tires to work with, not these ones. Or again, I can start tweaking my materials. So as I said before in the previous scene, working with materials in VRay is extremely straightforward, and it's the materials are very powerful. Here I have used again a blending material to use different layers to accomplish this look. But what if I want to focus my attention to certain regions and I don't want my entire scene to refresh constantly? So here we have this very nice option called Draw Region, where you have to just draw your region in your scene like that. And from now on, VRay RT will refresh only this part of the image. So let's say I change my base color from red to, let's say, blue. And now there you go. I can instantly see what's happening only in this region, so I can make better comparison between this and determine which one of the two I will use. Another great feature is called the real zoom. The real zoom gives me the ability to zoom in and pan within my VRay RT scene. Just think of it as a virtual camera within my ActiShape window without actually zooming my scene. So basically I can zoom in very close and pay attention only to certain details within my scene. I can draw another region, maybe bigger. Okay, so there we go. Now, as you can see, my flakes are still reddish as they were before, but since I changed my base color to blue, they don't match very well, so I can very easily just change the color right here to something else. So there you go. Now I have bluish flakes. Okay, so this is one way of working with the materials and VRay RT. Let me show you what powerful material that we have added to our already very powerful material set, the car paint material, which is here created exactly for this kind of purposes. Okay, let me just continue selecting parts. So we cover most of our car and apply it. And here is my VRay RT. As you can see, instant feedback. I immediately see my new car paint, what looks like. And now I can start tweaking the car paint material, which works similarly to what I showed you before for the blend material, but only this time everything is stuck together in a single material. Here I have the base layer parameters, which are basically my base layer as before I said. I have the flake layer parameters and the coat layer parameters. They each stack together and are compounds of our car paint material. To understand better, I will turn off my coat layer by just putting this to black. So that works like grayscale. The darker it gets, the less we see from the coat layer. If it's black, we don't see the coat layer. And now we have only flakes and base layer parameters. And now we'll turn off the density as well, so I have no flakes at all. So there you go. And now I will use again the draw region, so I don't waste resources on refreshing the entire image, but only to a part that I'm interested in. And now here is the color of the base layer, which is this grayish blue, and I can go ahead and make it reddish again to kind of simulate what we had before. So there you go. We have kind of reddish. Well, I don't like it very much. Something like that, maybe. And let's continue with the flakes. So we start adding flakes. So if I put one here for the density, we can already see the flakes, but they're quite big. And I will turn on triplanar from object XYZ because this model has not been unwrapped. And I will turn up the value of the flake scale because I would like them to be visible at this moment so I know better what's happening. And they're my flakes, so they're blue. They don't look very well on the red base, so let me put them to kind of orangish. There they are, flakes. And the more I raise this value here, they will get together more. At a certain point they will cover the entire base layer. So I think that's enough for now. And now I can start scaling down the flakes so they will start looking more realistic. Okay, let's say 0.1. Yeah, they're very small now. And the flake size can be tweaked also for fine-tuning. So let's say that's what I'm after, this visual effect. And now all we have to do is add some coat layer, which is here. And there we go. You can clearly see already the coat layer, very visible, the reflections. I can add even more. I can control the glossiness as well. Let's say these sharp highlights are not what I'm looking after, so I can tweak the glossiness and they get blurred. There you go. And I didn't mention before, but as well as tweaking the color, I can also tweak the reflections and the glossiness of the base layer. So I can have two different types of reflections within this car paint material, which is great. So I can there raise the reflectivity of the reddish color independently from the coat layer, and as well the glossiness of the base layer as well. So this material is extremely powerful, and it can be used with great ease in conjunction with VRay RT. Okay, I will move on to our next scene. Now this one is a typical interior scene. As you know, interior scenes are quite difficult to render because they have multiple secondary bounces of light and many objects that correspond with each other. So rendering with the conventional way could be quite difficult and time consuming, but as you can see with VRay RT, this is a piece of cake, as they say. It's very easy to do it. And one more thing, I mentioned at the beginning that VRay uses not only CPU but GPUs as well. So here I will open the settings, let me close this, and I will switch to, okay, this was actually a CUDA render, but here is the CPU. It's a bit slow because I have single CPU here, and you can clearly see it takes a while for the VRay RT to represent the scene, but as soon as I switch to GPU, and in this particular case CUDA because I have NVIDIA video card, it's much faster. So you can take advantage of your hardware, and that will speed up your process. That will make your life way easier. From now on, you can only pay attention to tweaking your scene and making it look better and more complete. This scene, let me show you, was lit by a VRay Sun and Sky. From now on I can, for example, start tweaking my scene to look the way I want to. Let's say I want to move my light source here, and as you can see, immediately I have moved my entire lighting within the VRay RT. I know what's happening. I can move it to go on the other side, and again I see immediately what's happening. I can lower it down, so VRay Sun and Sky immediately calculates that the sun horizon changes and changes the intensity and the color of the sunlight. So I can make it more like on a evening or maybe morning. So adjusting your scenes happens immediately with VRay RT. I can as well, okay, let me just go to my physical camera. I'm using a physical camera in this particular scene just to show you that VRay RT works perfectly. Here we go. I can tweak my F number. I can tweak just about any parameter of my physical camera and I'll have instant visual feedback. Let's say from my F number 8 I can go to 5.6 for example to change the light intensity within my scene. And as you can see, it immediately changed it. And from now on, after I have done with my lighting, I can just focus my attention to shading my scene and making it look the way my client wants to. Let's say I'm going to shade this part of the chair, and now I just open my material editor and let's say create a chrome material. Let me just select it and apply it. So no change is made now visually because the material is the same as the default. But as soon as I start tweaking the parameters, I will see instantly what's happening. Let's say I add way more reflectivity like that. So there you go. And tweak the blurriness to 0.7. Change the shading model, and now I have something that resembles 22, something that resembles chrome-like material. And maybe I would like to start shading my chair, and I can start using the real zoom option to, there we go. And let's say I want to see better how my chair touches the ground, and this will be my starting point in shading the chair. So I will just select my chair, add a new material, and from now on I will just start tweaking my settings on the material. Let's say I want it kind of beige. Some reflectivity, not much. 0.7. And there we go. Now I have my chair shaded. So this is how easy it can be by using VRay RT. You can shade, light your scenes on the fly while you're working with your coworkers, with your clients. All the decisions that are being made can be seen instantly. You don't have to wait for the results to be seen. You can shade your entire scene, and once you're ready, just leave the RT for a few minutes to refine the result, and you'll have a nearly production ready for your client image to show. So this has been rendered entirely with a GPU now. The first two scenes were with CPU. Okay, so I will move on to my next scene. Now this scene that I'll be opening is quite big and difficult to render with the conventional way of rendering. So let me just fire up the RT. This here is a CPU rendering now. As you can see, it takes a while, and the refining is not that fast as we're used to up until this moment. But let me just switch to GPU rendering. And as you can see, it refines way faster my scene. I can, in a couple of seconds, see very good result of my watch. I can start moving around, looking for the best angle that I want to show the watch to my client, let's say. And if at certain points some parts of my watch are not exactly up to what I'm looking after, I can again just focus my attention to them. Let's say this one, and I can zoom in quite much. You see it refines immediately. This is with CUDA. So let's say these highlights are not exactly what I want, so I just zoom in and start tweaking my material. This is this material, so let's say I'll go with no, that's not what I'm looking after. So there it is, golden, immediately. I can change my index of refraction from 16 to 2 just to make different look. My highlights can be tweaked immediately. You can clearly see that everything renders immediately. We have instant visual feedback of my watch, and this is very tough scene to render because almost everything except the glass has blurry reflections, and they are very difficult to render usually. But that's not the case with the VRay RT, and in this particular case with the CUDA. So there we go. Okay, let me return this to more normal values. So as you can see, VRay RT is extremely powerful and very easy. It can streamline your working process. It can make your life way easier. You can make decisions more accurate and more fast. You will no need to wait for your results to be seen. And I think this is a big helper in modern days where designers have to work faster and more precise. Okay, so I have another scene to show you, which is again very difficult to render the conventional way. Again, this is a watch, and now again I'll switch to CUDA. As I said, it's quite difficult to render, and even for the RT it's taking a while because it's a CAD model again. And there you go. Now in this scene we have added depth of field, which on its own it's very difficult to calculate. So we have depth of field, blurry reflections, refractive materials as well. And you can see that in a few seconds we have very good result already with VRay RT. So I can again draw a region and start paying attention to certain details. Let's say I'm not sure if This golden material is okay here, so I can zoom in, just look around. Maybe my client is not satisfied with the color. And all this is happening in real time. So I think it's a great tool. So, okay, if you have any questions, please let me know.
I was testing a bit on the side here, and actually, when it comes to choosing the render engine, it was grayed out. Is there some trick here? When we're choosing CPU or GPU? Or
This here?
This one was grayed out at my. Where did you change it?
It's grayed out here as well. That's because the active shade window is open. You will have to close it, and there you go.
Okay. In the active shade window, I can see this scene you have now with this very advanced watch. I can see that it had some grain. What can you do to improve the quality even more, just to let it stand for a while to get even more
Finer.
finer? Yeah.
Do you mean this particular scene here? For the grain was in the depth of field, and in order to improve, you have to go to the camera settings and raise the depth of field subdivisions, and of course just wait a bit longer for the RT to refine the result.
Understand.
You mean right here?
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to just raise the subdivisions of the depth of field and give the VRay RT a bit more time to refine the result.
Yeah. Could you use VRay RT for animation also?
Yes. Here are the subdivisions that I was talking about, the depth of field.
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello?
I have a question about the production render mode.
Yes.
You can choose, and you have different kind of settings there.
Yes.
How affect the settings if you go back to the active shaded mode?
You mean in the production render settings? Do you once you tweak them, do they affect the RT render settings?
Correct.
No. The active shade, the VRay RT is working independently from the production render.
I see.
Although there are certain scenarios where the production render is a must-have. You'll still need it at certain scenarios.
Can you give an example of one of those
Scenarios. Okay, let's say you're about to compose your image after the rendering in a software like Photoshop or Nuke, and you want your render layers to compose them at later stage. So that's where the production render really shines.
What kind of image formats would it support? I mean, if it supports RTF, you could get the C depth out from the RTF file, I guess.
Yes, you can save it just as you were with the production render.
RPF, I mean. RPF, I mean.
RPF.
Yeah.
Yes, there it is.
Okay, so if you go to the setup there, then you could actually put up the C depth. Then you can have a layer with a C depth.
Well, I believe you have to render it with render layers, and that means using the production render.
Any other questions? Yes. Okay. Looks awesome is the comments here.
Thank you.
Is there any of the VRay things that it doesn't support, some of the lights or materials or something that it doesn't support?
Not that I know. I have used different types of light setups in all my scenes. Let me go and explore some. So I'll
Because
open.
I got a like error on it said something about this environment, the sky, VRay sky.
No, that just that it says it uses it all the time. It doesn't matter if it's incompatible. It is compatible. As you can see, I have different VRay lights here. I can also add even default 3dsMax lights that will show up in the render as well. I can use the VRay dome light, which is an excellent lighting option for image-based lighting. I can use the environment of in this particular scene. It was not used, but I can use it. I think, let me just show you in the first scene with the Porsche. Just a second.
Yeah, I remember I saw that it was.
Here I have used a sun and sky model, but I have removed the sky and instead I have forced it to use an HDRI map that I have specified.
Yeah.
So basically you have all the creativity and freedom that you have with the conventional way of setting up your rendering. As I said, you just set up your scene and choose what to render with. I will most of the times choose the VRay RT because it's faster, and any tweaks that need to be made at later stage or something I forgot or didn't understand well during the explanation of what I have to do, I can change it on the snap and the results will come up immediately. So here is the example I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Thank you very much to all, and bye. That's from me.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.